everybody.
Hey, y'all.
How is it going? Welcome to Our Love Won't Fail. And I know we've been gone for just a little bit. We've been gone for a minute, but we back again. Well, me and Bae, we did. No, I'm just playing. Please. Once again, welcome to Our Love Won't Fail, where we've been doing a few things, trying to change some things up, make it a little bit different. And so now we've come so that we can interview couples and we can talk to them and talk about love, talk about marriage, and see how things going and bring it to you so that you guys have something to refer to or to go to or to look at, just to encourage you a little bit and let you know that love still does exist today.
Absolutely. And so, to start us off, why not the best couple to us, besides us, our besties, Mr. and Mrs. Malcolm Butler.
What's up,
Nikki
Nikki and Malcolm Butler?
Mr. and Mrs.
Okay,
Malcolm
Mr.
Butler.
and Mrs.
So formal.
Nicolette and Malcolm, or Malcolm and Nicolette Butler.
Yes.
Always got to be included.
Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
How is it going?
it's good. I can't complain.
I hope not.
I'm about to.
I'm sure.
So,
So, tell us a little bit about your love story. Let everybody know how y'all started.
Well, first, as of February 25th, 2022, I don't know when you guys are watching this, but as of that date, we are 10 years married. Woo! So that's from now. That's 1 week from now. 1 week from now, we will have been married for 10 years.
Yeah.
Our love story. I mean, it's nothing crazy to me. My wife thinks it's like fairy tale-ish.
It is.
For me, we fell in love, so we met in the church.
Plain and simple. We fell in love.
Sorry, I'm super guy. We met in the church. Probably like a year or 2 years, maybe a year and a half before we even started dating. We were friends, and when we started dating, it was just kind of not just kind of. I had just been in like a rough relationship, like 6 months prior. So I was six months single, and we started dating, and she just was like what I wanted. She was different than other relationships that I had been in, and
you was a breath of fresh air.
So now I'm gonna have to get manly. So I was like, "Woman, you gonna be mine." Nah, so
you did say that.
So it was. I think I did tell her, "Woman, you gonna be mine."
You my girl now.
So we had.
That's how you asked me out.
That's not even how I sound. And I said, "Woman, say it with my chest."
Okay.
Nah, so we dated for about a little less than a year before I proposed, because at that time I already knew. I was like, so I want to be with, because I believe that when you say that we were made to be together, I feel like, first off, I don't believe in that. Secondly, I think that lessens my desire to be with you. So if I say I desired to be with her, I wanted her, for me, that means a lot more than we were made to be together, because then it's my choice. And I chose her just as she chose me. And also when I proposed, it was not because I felt like I can't live without her, because obviously I know I can live. I can eat and I can drink and I can survive and I can live, but it was more of a I don't want to live without her. So in my opinion, you marry somebody when you think to yourself, this person, I do not want to live without this person. And for me, that's a lot more realistic than I can't live, because obviously I can breathe.
Right.
So I don't want to live without this person. No. So that's kind of in my opinion how that happened. But I think Nikki had always has something that she wants to add to it about her childhood and stuff. But
yes, because you forgot the part when you started introducing me to your family. They was like, Oh, I already know her. You was that high, running around the apartments, being bad. By the way, I was not bad. I was just trying to experience new things, test the waters.
Bad.
Bad. She is testing. She's still testing.
Right.
Testing me. I'm just playing.
I'm just spending money.
Spending money.
We'll get to that later. Okay, we can get to that later on. 'Cause we'll never get to the questions if we start talking about spending money. So
They'll walk off the set. We talk about spending money.
So when she talks about being our childhood, we grew up. Well, we found out later on down the line. I found out that we grew up in the same area. We knew a lot of the same people. She knew almost all my family. As I introduced them, they're like, "Oh, I know who she is. That's Felicia's daughter. Oh, I know who that is. I know who that is." So I found out that she grew up in the same apartment complex that I lived in for a short time, and that I had family in. So I was there all the time, and we hung out with a lot of the same people. But through I don't know, some way I don't remember her as a child. I'm sure at some point in time we had to have been around each other because we hung out with the same people,
Yes.
but we didn't hang out with each other. This is elementary school, so there's a 2.5 year difference. So in elementary school, 2.5 years is a big deal.
This is true.
So
I'm in fifth grade.
Cause I'm in 5th grade, I'm not really hanging out with a 3rd grader.
Right.
It's not good for my 5th grade reputation.
She can't even play on the big playground.
Right, she's still over there with little ones.
It
So,
wasn't that.
but no, so that's our love story or fairy tale, she likes to call it.
Yes, because everybody in your family calls us the fairy tale couple.
Not everybody.
Not you.
I'm in my family, so
All the women.
So
There you go.
let me ask you this. Since you're coming up now on 10 years of marriage, in the very beginning of marriage, was there any expectations that you guys had at all for marriage in general? Just like some people expect that white picket fence, 2.5 kids, a dog. You have
I
any
still don't understand the 2.5
I don't
kids.
get the 2.5 kids neither.
Could
But-
have your kid is missing probably. I don't know.
half their mind at
Maybe
this
you
point.
pregnant. 2 kids in a pregnancy.
Yeah, two and
I
a
don't
half.
know. That's weird.
Okay, question.
So did y'all have any expectations going in?
So I had to be the perfect wife, not with 6 kids, but I wanted 6 kids. And then my favorite show was 7 Heaven. So in 7 Heaven, she was to me, the perfect wife, the perfect mom.
Yes.
Her house was always clean. She always had like the little snacks and stuff on the table. So I started off with waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, making sure I made him breakfast burritos. That lasted like 2 weeks. And then I was
Dang.
It
strong.
actually
Oh,
lasted
2
longer
weeks.
than that. It lasted longer than that because it's while I was working when I
Oh,
was
it was
commuting.
really-
When I was commuting.
Yeah, it's when you was working at that job, so I had to make sure you was eating because you was waking up early in the morning. And then I went to my stage where somebody told me your husband should never see you with your morning face. So I used to wake up before the sun come out, sneak in the restroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, put my makeup on, do my hair,
Wow.
sneak back in the bed. And one time he caught me and he looked like, "What? Did you just go somewhere?"
Wow.
And I was like, "No, I woke up like this."
Liar.
wake up like
And then
Come on,
my
man.
cousin told me how she used to fold her husband underwear after she washed them. She was ironing them and fold them. I
Iron
tried
them?
that. Yes, and I tried it until what was it? I was ironing his clothes
And I
it
asked-
fell, and I put a hole in the carpet, so I'm not allowed to touch his clothes anymore.
To iron my
burned
clothes.
a hole
No,
in the
I don't let her iron my clothes. She doesn't iron my clothes. I
I
don't.
can't touch his clothes no more.
No.
So it was more for me, and then for him, I just wanted somebody who loved me for me, and know that I wasn't perfect. Even though I tried it, it didn't work out for me, but it's okay. Mistakes happen.
No. So. All I really wanted, all I expected was for my wife to be loyal and respect me as a man, as I respect her as a woman. I feel like she left something out though. I feel like, look, because you mentioned money earlier. I think she expected for me to give her all the money she wanted to do all the shopping she wanted. Because if you don't know Nikki,
I'll shop on a budget.
she shops
On her budget.
hard stop.
Right.
She's a shopper. I mean, she does. It's not like she shops till we don't have funds to pay the bills. That's not what happens by any means. But she does shop till my stomach hurts.
Till my stomach hurts.
I think she kind of because Nikki, look, baby, I love you, but she was a spoiled kid. She got what she wanted from her grandmother, from her mom. So when the change happened, when we got married, and she no longer clinged to them and she clung to me, I feel like I was expected to fill that role. And I made the mistake early on of filling that role. And so now because I set that standard in the marriage and in that relationship, that's kind of where it is. We're slowly changing that, get a job, spend your own money. But that's kind of part of the expectation. I think in the marriage, and I did expect in the marriage to be that though. It's not like I grew up thinking about marriage. I'm a man. Come on, we don't. Most of us don't do that. We don't grow up thinking about marriage. It's not what we do. I said most of us. So I didn't grow up like thinking to myself, oh, what am I going to? How am I gonna? But when I did have the thoughts about how I would want to treat my wife, I did think I want to be able to just give her money and say, hey, go buy what you want, go do what you're gonna do. Partly because I felt like it was just something that I should do, and partly because it meant that I had time by myself to do what I wanted to while she was out.
So
there was some motives behind it.
Because he wants you to leave.
It's a win-win situation.
I just want some time to do what I want to do. Watch TV.
I get it. So did you think that marriage would change anything? Because you brought up the fact that she was spoiled and she spent, money. Did you think, look, she would come in like, okay, look, we ain't got too much money, and we got kids. Did you think it would change?
No.
Do you want it to change?
Not now. At some point in time in our marriage where finances were tight, I did.
Okay.
But she understood that. She didn't feel the need to overspend. We've been blessed in that area where we're not struggling anymore. So the spending has started again. But
it's picked up.
But not to the point where where it's a concern. But that was an expectation. It was a standard that I set, and I'm okay with that. But I didn't expect her to change in that area. And probably because I didn't think that she expected me to.
Okay. So did you expect anything to change at all? Because I know, we know both of y'all was wild. So did you expect the I do to change that wildness?
I think we had stopped. I think I stopped
I think.
all my parties
sure,
before.
huh?
Right.
Like I said,
She did.
The only thing I would say, when we was in our dating period, and once we had moved in together, it was hard because my mom was a single mom.
Okay.
So she put in my heart, don't depend on no guy for nothing. You always have yourself. You the strong-minded, don't do this, always have your money. And so in my mindset, when we first started dating, I wanted to go out and still party. He was like, well, where are you going? And I was like, well, why do I need to tell you? It was hard for me to, and then I had to realize, wait, if this is somebody I want to actually be with, I need to learn how to communicate. And it took some time, but he had patience, and he worked with me. And we got there.
Yeah, I think it's just a learning of it's a communication thing and not a asking for permission. I think pride makes you as a man want to say, I don't have to ask you for permission. I'm a grown man.
Sure.
A lot of couples think that. A lot of couples struggle with the communication. It's not. I'm not asking you for permission. I'm just letting you know, hey,
I'm about to
I'm
Yes, God has
going
some
here
thoughts in my
just
head.
in case something happened. You know,
Where I'm
at
at.
least where I said I was gonna be, and it's just that it's a good thing you brought that up because a lot of couples do struggle with that communication, and they think it's more of a I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
And so it's not a I gotta ask you. It's just me being considerate,
Yeah.
letting you know, hey, I'm going here. I'll be back.
Yes.
So I wonder, we moving toward that direction a little bit. And so I'm just going to ask the question, when y'all have disagreements and arguments, how do those get settled?
In the past or now?
Both!
In the
There's been a church.
Since you put a past and now on
Let's
it, we
start
want
on
to
the
know
past
both.
and move up to now.
In the past, it was no.
Well, she did that. And I'm like, no.
I'm just playing.
It was me shutting down a whole lot, but that had to deal with past relationships, which is I didn't have like a voice in my past relationships. So when I said he had to work with me, it was because it wasn't me trying to run away from the argument. It's just I didn't know how to express myself. So I would shut down or I would leave the house and for like minutes. I remember one time I left for like 10 minutes, but I sat like outside and he went to my mom and I had left my phone. And then he came back and he was like, I was so worried about you. And I was like, I just don't know how to communicate. So he came up with the idea. He was like, you know what? We're going to figure it out. We had a notebook. And every time I needed to express myself to him, I would have to write it in a notebook and I would leave it on the bed. And he would read it and then he would either write back or he would come and be like, okay, baby, come on, let's sit and talk.
I don't like writing, so I always went to tour. Yeah, so at the beginning we did have kind of that figuring out how to communicate with each other. Because while she shut down, I'm very, we need to figure it out. But also, on the opposite side of that, I can get to the point where I'm like, if it's something that really upsets me, I get to the point where it's not even let's figure out if I'm really upset. It's more of a give me a moment, give me some time to go kind of think it out so that this doesn't become a in-your-face argument and it's more of a discussion.
Right.
So our arguments have gone from being arguments to being discussions, learning how to control our voice levels, learning how to control what is said. And again, even now, I still have to, when we have our disagreements, take time to myself. Right. The only difference is before, when I needed time to myself, it was more of a no. You don't want to talk about it with me right now. But if it's my issue, then you want to talk about it, kind of thing. But I had to learn that for her, I needed to give her time, and she had to give me time. So there had to be separation. But there were times. There was one time in particular where we had a really, I don't remember what the argument was about, obviously, because you never remember them. But we had a really heated argument, and I was so upset, and she didn't want to give me time, and she didn't want to let me breathe. Where I just went to my car, and I was in my car for I think hours, and it was late night. And she thought that I left, but I was just sitting in my car because I needed time away. I went to sleep for like an hour. I was just like I don't want to, because if we're going there, it's going to be a bigger argument. It's going to continue, and because of my prior relationship, right before, the one I had 6 months before we started dating, I was tired of arguing because that relationship it was just all arguments all day long. And I was just tired of it, and I didn't want to argue. So that's when I decided we're not going to argue. We're not going to sit and yell at each other because I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that anymore. So I learned, so this is something I actually tell my kids at my job. I told them I had to learn it in my relationship. I learned sometimes you don't agree with things, but you have to tell yourself, let me just shut up. So I had to literally tell myself, let me just shut up. So I tell them like, hey, sometimes there are things you don't like, and you're not gonna agree with, but it's best sometimes to just shut up. Like, and I'm telling like, I'm not telling you to shut up, but I'm telling you, tell yourself, shut up. So that was one of the things I had to learn in my relationship. Hey, yo, Mac, just shut up.
Yeah, you have to pick your battles. You have to pick your battle. Everything isn't worth arguing over.
No.
And so it's just like, you got this one. I'm going ahead and be quiet. You got that one.
Yeah, because it'd be the smallest thing in the world, and it'd turn into a
Right.
big argument. Like, you left the noodles in too long, and they're mush now. Like how I wanted to have ramen, and now I got mashed potatoes. like, why is that an argument? I don't know, but we're arguing.
Right. Okay, so look, we bringing up the top ramen and the mashed potatoes, so that's cooking. Gender roles. Did you guys?
Yes.
Do you guys
Yes.
believe it?
So,
We're not gonna go there with you.
no, so look here.
You.
So when we got married, my wife, and she knows, I told her one of the things that I needed from my wife was she had to know how to cook something. Like, I'm thin, but I'm fat. like I have a metabolism that, like, if I ate this glass ball right now, I'd be eating the rest in like 15 minutes. But and you guys know, you've gone to vacation with us, and you know that in the morning, if you guys take too long to get up, and I'm hungry, I'll call you like, hey, where are you at? I need to eat.
Mad, like,
Get up, or I'm leaving everybody. Pull over the car. Stop here. I'm sure there's food inside this Vons. We need to get food. Like, so because of the way that I eat, and because of the fact that I like food, I was like, my wife got to be able to cook something. Like, so she cooked for me when we were dating, and I was like, okay, so she cooks, and the fact that she's willing to cook for me, even if she didn't know how to cook, which she does, even if she didn't know how to cook though, I would be like, at least she's willing to try. But she continued to cook for me, and that was something that I expected. I expected food. Like, one thing that I didn't expect, but is obviously part of being married, was like, because when we first started dating, I was still young, and I was still very much messy. She came one day, and she was hanging out in my room, and I went to work, and I left her in my room, and I went to work, and I was working part-time, so I was gone for like 4.5, 5 hours, and I came back home, and I went in my room, and she cleaned my room. And I was hot. I was like, why? Like, what did you do? What are you doing? Nobody told you to clean my room. I didn't have nothing to hide. There was nothing, but it was just like, this is my space, and you're kind of invading my space. We're still relatively new. We're only a couple months in, and you clean my room, and I'm upset.
It was dirty.
I'm upset. Like, it was messy. No, I'm not denying that.
Not messy,
It was messy. It was really messy. But she cleaned it. She moved stuff. I didn't know where nothing was. I was like, I knew my shoe was behind this door. That's where that was, and the other one was under the bed. I knew that. Now where are they? Like,
Organized mess.
Like,
it was messy, but
it was messy, but I knew where everything was.
Right.
But I didn't expect her to clean up after me. That was not something that I expected. But we do have gender. I think we do have roles in our marriage. She expects me to be the protector. I know she expects security from me, and she expects for, even currently I'm the breadwinner, and I know she expects that. She expects for me to take the trash out. That's my role. She does it if I'm not around. She'll do it, but if I'm home, she expects me to do it. That's kind of my role. Just like at this point in time, I expect for her to clean our room. She does it. I'll do it. I help, but I expect it. Like, but these are things that have developed. Like, I never expected my wife to be. I've never been like, my wife has to wash our clothes because I'm not touching a washer. That's never been something that I've done. But that's something that's developed in our relationship over time. So I think when you talk about roles in your relationship, I think you're kind of talking about things that you expect because that's just how they've developed. So like washing clothes is something that she does. I'll do it every once in a while, but I don't expect to.
There you go.
And she doesn't expect me to. And I think that's the important thing is in those roles, I don't expect her to do things that she doesn't do, and that she doesn't expect me to do things that I don't normally do, and those are kind of unwritten things. Like we don't sit down and say, okay, so you wash clothes, I'll clean the bathroom, you do the dishes and I'll take the trash out, you fold clothes and I sleep by the door. Like we don't
Chore chart.
Right.
we don't do that.
You do this, I do this.
It's just kind of what developed over time. So yes, I do. And I've been talking too much. Did you?
You took care of everything.
She expects that.
And that's exactly what she expected. So,
Because not nothing that I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Because before, the trash, that was an issue. Because the trash would pile up and pile up and pile up. I'd be like, you don't see these bags? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Like-
So I was like, you know what? I know he got to walk through this door. So I'm going to pick the trash. I take it to the door. And sometimes he'll just walk past. So I'll just be like, I don't get this. What is going on? So I'll be like,
what's wrong with your gender role?
so sometimes I'll be like, really? I don't get it. And then we'll come. But then I was like, ain't nobody got time to be fighting over no trash. I got 2 legs, and now I got 4 kids.
Right.
So I'll be like, put your shoes on, go take the trash out.
Right.
And then, he got smart. He would take the trash out in the morning. So I would look, and I was like, oh, he already took the trash out.
Man,
Look at my baby.
I'm mad I got smart.
I mean, that's what-
But we look,
you got
walking
smart.
right past
True.
the trash was what
That was
smart.
That was smart for me. It
Uh-huh.
saved me a whole lot of labor. I'm young.
No,
I need
it
my back to
wasn't.
last for a while.
Not smart.
We grew with it.
So in marriage, it's a compromise.
Always.
How did you guys come to, or how do you guys come to a conclusion on what you compromise on? For, because, you compromise, but there's some things that you just not going to let up on.
That's true.
So how do you guys balance that in marriage?
I can't think of any of those. Honestly, I can't think of anything.
Anything that you wouldn't compromise?
Yeah. Because the most important things, I mean, obviously, it's God. And when it comes to material things, there's not really anything that I feel like I wouldn't give up. I gave up my first Mustang because I didn't have room for my family.
You ain't get that up.
I had to.
You just
I
put
feel
it
you
away
on
for
that.
a minute because you got another one.
Yeah, because I was able to because we have multiple cars now. But when we couldn't afford multiple cars, it was a my family comes first, so I'm giving it up kind of thing. Like I can't buy more instruments because my kid needs shoes kind of thing. So there's nothing that I'm not gonna compromise on. I don't think, with the exception obviously of my faith. But everything else, as long as it has no effect on my faith and my walk and my loyalty to the church, I'm willing.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that you wish you would have known, or anything that you wish you would have been told before you got married? Now that you have been married for 10 years, obviously you guys have been able to experience a lot, you've gone through a lot, but is there anything that you wish you would have been told or have known before you actually got married?
That is a day-to-day battle.
That's a good one.
Marriage is a day-to-day battle. My mom, she been married, I think once. I'm hoping only once, as she told me. But and my grandma,
Sorry, Mama,
I
if you
was
watch
around, right? Well, so she was the only person that I seen. But other than that, everybody else I seen like on TV, and TV isn't real. So in my eyes, it was like, oh, marriage is fine, it's easy, it's peasy. Like you'll wake up, everything is fine, and it was like, well, what do I do now? We said I do. Our first couple of years was good. and everybody would come to us like, well, how was your first year? Because that's the hardest. And we would look like our first year was the easiest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going on. I think the hardest battle for us was when
4th, 5th year when I was commuting.
Oh yes.
So I wish. So for me, I think I wish someone would have told me that the hardest part for me is, or was for me, it was separating like long days of work, like getting home and then not bringing work home as far as frustration, because in our fourth year, third, fourth, fifth year, that year I was working at a job that was really demanding. It was really, for me, it was stressful. Like, it was stressful to the point at one point in time, I started having muscle spasms in my back because I was so stressed out. We had just had a new kid. Finances were short. I was working 60 hours a week and like still felt like I was not like making enough to get the bills paid. I was commuting 45 minutes to work back and forth every day. That's without traffic. Like, and I was going like, because of the way the hours were set up, like I wasn't seeing my kids from like Thursday to Sunday, and it was really tough on my wife. It was really tough on the kids. It was really tough on me. So that was a rough time. I wish someone would have warned me like, hey, make sure that your priorities are your family in that way. I know sometimes you have to work those hours. Sometimes like firefighters, military, that that, and that's rough. And I wish that someone would have warned me so I could have at least been prepared and known how to approach that. Now I think my biggest problem is I bring work home because my wife calls me a workaholic. I work a lot, but not because I have to. Now it's more because I feel like things need to get done. But I wish somebody would have said, hey, look, make sure that your family gets time. Providing money and stuff like that is great, and making sure that they're that way. But your family needs you emotionally as well. Yes. So, and that was hard for me because I've never been one that gets really emotionally like I'm not always emotionally available. I can be that cliche man sometimes where I'm like, so like whatever, I'm not tripping, whatever. But I didn't have someone to tell me, yo, make sure that you're emotionally available. I still battle with feeling like sometimes I don't spend enough time with our kids because I'm always doing something and I'm always busy because I always feel like, hey, this got to get done. Let me get up and do it. This got to get done. Let me get up and do it. Let me go here. Let me go there. If I was kind of coached earlier on how to deal with that, I might not have fallen into that trap like I did.
Sure. Right. So, what advice would the two of you, or would you give to couples that are wanting to get married or just got married or trying to figure it all out? What, word of inspiration would you give to someone that is trying to get where you guys are, trying to get to that 10 years and that 20 years? What would you tell them?
Listen, when you're getting ready to get married, or when you decide that this is the woman that I want to be with, it's important that you understand that even the perfect woman for you is going to have some things in her life, or the perfect man for you is going to have some things in his life that do not match perfectly with your ideal marriage. It is like Nikki said, it's an everyday battle, it's an everyday struggle, and not in arguing or fighting every day, but making sure that I understand what it is that this person expects and that this person knows what it is I expect, and that we both understand that some things we're going to have to compromise on when it comes to knowing what this person likes and doesn't like, and knowing what I like and what I don't like. And then also just like with faith, them knowing, hey, I'm not going to compromise in my faith. So in the beginning of the relationship, you have to let it be known, I'm not going to compromise. This is who I am. So if you want children, you got to tell your mate, hey, I want children. So they understand if they don't want it, then that may not be a relationship that you guys can get into, because children is part of what you expect out of your marriage, and it's not what they expect. So be open. Don't try to hide it and think that you can change the person just because you get married. The ring doesn't change anything. You are still people, and you still have what you want. You still know what you want. So approach it cautiously. Don't just jump into it. And then talk to successfully married people. When I say successfully married people, I mean people that have had rough patches in their marriage and are open to sharing how they got through those. Talk to people that have had who are open with sharing. Hey, look, I made mistakes early on. She was at the point where she almost wanted to leave me. This is what I had to do to change. You have to understand that there are going to be some battles. There are going to be some fights. There are going to be some struggles that if you are not willing to deal with, you're not willing to stand in, then the relationship won't work. So so my advice out of all that is just be patient with each other, just be loving with each other, and be open to communicate, because you got to be like me. I tell my wife, hey, look, I know sometimes I can be that cliche man and I struggle with being emotionally connected or emotionally available. Let me know, tell me, and she'll tell me, hey, I'm trying to talk to you and you're not listening. Like, she's told me it a lot. Like, I told you, and you're not listening. Like you hear me. I know you hear what I'm saying, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. And I struggle with that listening sometimes. I do. I'm like, I heard what you're saying, but I don't get it, because she's emotional and I'm logical, and we know men can be very logical while women are very emotional. So something to me is like, logically you shouldn't be upset about it, but to her it's like, no, that hurt my feelings. And I'm like, feelings? I got one feeling.
Hunger,
exactly. So just being patient, just being loving, and open communication. With those three things, I feel like any marriage can be successful, but you have to be.
And don't give up when it get hard.
And when the phone rings, like that one in the background, you can probably hear. Don't get mad about it. No, seriously though. So sometimes this can be an issue in your marriage. Just so you know, sometimes this can be an issue. It doesn't even have to be like social media. Sometimes like me and my wife could be watching TV and her mom calling her, and then my mom is calling her, and then my sisters are calling her, and then she is calling her, and I'm like, look, wife.
Calls matter.
Look, wife.
Calls matter.
Like time is important to me.
Yes.
That's something for me. So there you go. That's something
That's in love language.
Something for me that's important. Something for me that's important.
No lives were harmed in the making of this film.
Something that's important for me is time spent. So make sure you let those things that are important, just like that. My wife knows. Time spent is very important to me. Even more than gifts, even more than intimacy, even more than any of that. For me, it's time spent, because I feel like time is the one thing that we'll never get back.
Absolutely.
So what we want you to know is that there's no real rule book on marriage. There's no standard on marriage. Every marriage can be different. Every marriage is going to have their ups and their downs. But one thing that you can for sure is work through it. Like they said, every day can be different. Every day can have something new. But if you're willing to put the time in and you're willing to work through it and you're willing to work on it, then everything in the end can be all right.
Absolutely. So, with all that being said, we want to thank Malcolm and Nikki, since they don't want to be Mr. and Mrs.
I do.
We want to thank Malcolm and Nikki for coming to
Absolutely.
sit and chat with us today. And again, we've been gone for a minute. We
But
had
we
some
back
issues
again.
that we were dealing with, not between
I like
us,
it.
but health-wise.
Yes.
But health-wise, but we are back, and we will begin to sit down with a range of different couples, from the newly engaged to the celebrating 35 years. So we just want you guys to keep staying tuned, and we're going to keep bringing you love. We're going to keep bringing you support. We're going to keep showing you that marriage is where it's at.
Yep.
married people have fun. Married people, we do it. And it's okay to be married. It's okay to be monogamous. It's okay to love that one person that you choose to love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
My words. Yeah.
as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe
You
button,
already know.
and just get
Enjoy
them
the
reminders
love.
when we come and post something, and
Yeah.
just love up all this love we giving y'all.
You know. Thank you guys
That
once
was
again
so
for
ghetto.
joining us here. And our love won't fail. Peace.
Deuces.
Bye, guys.